Hello, how's it going, people? Back with another video. Today I'm going to be showing you the strategy we use for abandonment flows, how you can set them up, how you can get the most out of them, some examples of emails, and yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So first things first, arguably the most important of your abandonment flows, we have the checkout flow. Now, the first thing to consider is the trigger on this. So this is going to be when someone starts checkout. Problem I've come across a lot of times when people are building a checkout flow is they use a added to cart trigger. That's wrong. You don't want to do that. Make sure it's start to checkout. Then after this, we're going to have a time delay of an hour. It might be 30 minutes, 2 hours. I highly suggest you test this, but an hour is the safe middle ground. And then this part is optional. However, we do like to do it. This is a conditional split for has placed order 0 times overall time. This is because if someone has never purchased with you before, you're going to want to speak to them in one way, and if someone has purchased with you before, you're going to want to speak to them in another. A friend of 10 years, you're going to speak to differently than someone you've just met, so here's how we like to do it. And then following this conditional split, we're going to have another conditional split for has placed order since starting this flow. This will be at least once, and this is to make sure you are targeting the correct people. So then we'll have an email on the no wing following this, and we'd always suggest here doing a plain text versus design. This is going to be an introductory email, simple of here's what you left behind. You do have the option of including other things. For example, if you're doing a designed email, you could just have a hero, a dynamic section, here's what you left behind, and then maybe some testimonials underneath. So for example, here you go. So we have a plain text, hey, notice you left something behind at checkout. And then here's a designed example, real simple, easy. And then we're going to have a time delay following this email, and then another conditional split for has placed order at least once since starting this flow. Did they convert off this first email? Yes, no. If no, we hit them with another email. Here we're going to take another angle, so it could be social proof, us versus them, FAQs. Here's some more examples. And then within these emails, we're going to include our dynamic section. And then we're going to have a time delay of increased time, so this might be 2 days. And the rest of the flow is going to follow this structure of a conditional split, no email, time delay, split. So with this third email, you do have options here. You could take other angles here. However, you could also include a welcome discount or some form of discount. If someone has never purchased an order with you before, then it gives you the opportunity to reuse your welcome discount. However, if it's for repeat purchases, etc., then you can make your own discount for checkout. And this is just a real simple one. Here's a gift from us, we saved your order, and then the rest of the flow is going to follow this structure. And then for the final email, this should be 4, we're just going to have a last chance. Typically what works really well that we found is a plain text check-in from X, a customer support, or the founder. Hey, I noticed you left some items at checkout. You do have options here, so you can create scarcity, i.e. our checkouts expire after 14 days, if that is something you actually like to do, or you can create some other form. But this is essentially just a last chance email. And then on the other side of the wing, this is going to be for repeat purchases, so the nurturing that you have to do doesn't have to be as extensive, but we suggest you follow a similar pattern here. So if I show you within Klaviyo how you can do this, so if you come into Klaviyo and you build your own flow, time checkout, you can find an abandoned checkout reminder here. You'll be wanting to use this, and this is where you will find your dynamic block. So as you can see, we have a trigger of when someone's starting checkout, and then on the profile filters, I suggest you make a profile filter for placed order 0 times since starting this flow. This is to make sure you are targeting the correct people. Following this, you'll have your time delay, and then this conditional split, you can set it to something different, i.e. What someone has or not done. And then you can go placed order 0 times since starting this flow, and that's how it would look like. And then on the no path, you'd have your first email. If you come here, so this is the Klaviyo pre-built email. If you come into the editor of this template, you'll see Klaviyo have their pre-built dynamic block here. This is what you're going to want to use. I might suggest you take it from Klaviyo rather than trying to build it yourself. And then what you can do is hit star here, save as universal content, name it. That way when you're creating your emails in your own flow, you can just drag it in and jobs are good. So that's about that for the checkout flow. I'd highly recommend you take time in doing this because this is very important, your highest intent audience. So yeah. Now on to the next one. Here we are looking at the cart. So the same principles follow for the checkout. You're just trying to move them into a new stage of the funnel. So the trigger is going to be added to cart. You're going to have your time delay, split, although this isn't always necessary, and then the same conditional split, no email. However, within this, you're basically going to want to take everything one step back within your funnel. So instead of going conditional split has placed orders since starting this flow, it's going to be has started checkout. Obviously they're moving throughout the funnel. If they go to checkout and don't place their order, then the abandoned checkout handles that. So then email 1 is going to be the same thing, plain text versus design. Here are some examples, and then you're going to want a second email. You can do whatever you like with this. You can make a hybrid email, plain text, hear from the family. You can design this however you like. And then the principles remain the same for the cart. So if I show you how this would look, if we come into Klaviyo, you can see we have an abandoned cart reminder here under the Shopify added to cart trigger or WooCommerce, whatever it is you're using. You want to create this, and then you would take the same approach to getting your dynamic block. So you come into this editor, find the email, edit it, save the universal block as added to cart, and there you can build your email. If you want to know how to build emails, check out my other video. And yeah, so real simple, real quick. This is straightforward as it gets. Now looking at the browse. So the abandoned browse is for when someone has viewed your product but they haven't taken the step of adding it to cart yet. So these might just be window shoppers or a level above window shoppers, but essentially you're going to want to follow the same pattern here. So you do view product, time delay, have they added it to cart? If no, then you're going to want to win them back. So this isn't necessary. Excuse me. The browse email should be here. So the first one's just going to be the same as before. Here's what you left behind. However, with a browse, what you can do is include other products. People are just window shopping at this point, so you could plug your best sellers in at the bottom, and then we're going to have the same format of conditional split, has added to cart since starting this flow, and then your next email, which may be a discount opener, although it's not always necessary. You can take your own approach, handle objections, etc., etc., and then we're gonna finish this off with one final email of a last chance. So here's an example. See something you liked, bit of social proof, here's what you viewed, or you can split test this with the plain text. And then we have an objection handler here, mistakes people are making. You could do this FAQs, whatever you like. And then we have a last chance plain text here. Very simple. Now if I show you how to do this, so if you come into Klaviyo flows, you can find a template for browse abandonment. You're going to want to create this, and then going into the flow itself, this trigger is going to be for when someone has viewed your product. One thing I would always suggest is going on profile filters and including in these filters the later stages of the funnel that someone's in. So as you can see here, checkout started 0 times since starting this flow, placed order 0 times since starting this flow. Because this is a browse abandonment, you could also include added to cart 0 times since starting this flow. But that's the general gist of this. You want to make sure you're targeting the right people. Time delay, conditional split, have they added to cart? And then we'll go into our emails. You can also find a dynamic block for this one. And then last but not least, we have our site abandonment. So this is for actual window shoppers. And this is likely to be your sender in most volume. So it's just people who come into the site, look around, don't see anything, leave. So we're going to have the metric of when someone is active on site. Make sure this is set up within your Klaviyo. It should be a Klaviyo metric, as will viewed product. So make sure they're working when you're integrating Shopify and Klaviyo, for example. Make sure the view product tracking is turned on. Now, going to this flow, we're just going to have a conditional split. Same principles as all the other flows. However, this is going to be has view products at least once in starting this flow. If no, then we'll give them an email. Now, this email, because it's a window shopper, you're going to want to take the least hardcore sales approach out of all of these flows. So this is just going to be a real simple, thanks for visiting the site earlier. Let us know if you need to handle anything or you have any questions. In the meantime, why not check out our best sellers? And then we're going to have a time delay after this, conditional split, following the previous one of has view product since starting this flow, and then another email. Typically you make this flow shorter, as out of anyone who's going to report your email spam, it's going to be window shoppers. So you want to keep this short and sweet. You don't want to hound them with emails when they were on your site for 30 seconds and never want to hear from you again. So then we can just do a follow-up email on this, sort of check-in offer support. Here's an example. So we have a plain text. You can split test this with a design and just here are our products, or you could do a shop by collection sort of thing. Some social proof. You can do FAQs if you like to handle objections, and then you can do a last chance plain text. Always seems to work really well. So in terms of actually creating this flow, you're going to want to build this flow manually. There is no pre-built Klaviyo flow for an abandoned site. However, it's super simple. All you're going to do is come to the manual builder. You're going to go on metrics. And within this API section, there should be active on site. It does depend on your integration, whether you're using WooCommerce or Shopify, etc. However, it should fall within this API section, so it's just going to be active on site. And then within the profile filters of this flow, what you can do is, as mentioned previously, include all the later stages of what someone has done on your site. So you can go what someone has done or not done, and you can go view product. 0 times since starting this flow. This just make sure you're targeting the right people, and then to be extra safe, you can go through and go view product 0 times, add it to cart 0 times, checkout started 0 times, placed order 0 times, just to make sure you're hitting the right people. And then there is no need for a dynamic section on this. Obviously, someone's just visited your site, so there's no product or dynamic thing for them to be shown. So this is just going to be simple. Trigger, yes, time delay. If I just show you here, there you go, come to logic. You're going to do a time delay of X many days, and then a conditional split, what someone has done or not done, viewed product at least once since starting this flow. You're going to save that, your email is going to go here, and then this structure of email, time delay, conditional split, email is going to follow the rest of the flow. And then building the emails is super simple. Subject line, preview text. And then if you're looking to set up plain text from the founder, etc., you can always go on sender name and change that. So that's about all. Hope you enjoyed the video. Very simple one. Let us know if you have any questions, and let me know what else you'd like to see. It's been a pleasure as always, people, and thank you for your time. Cheers.